Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is the Protego Foundation, and you can help me, help them, help the animals in several ways. The first way is to watch this stream and bring your friends, because I'm going to be making a donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count. This is my last stream of this month and of the year. So this is the last chance to get that unique viewers count number up. You can also donate to our fundraiser here on Twitch. We have $10 raised from last year. We upped the goal to $20 for this year, so another $10 is all we need. If you can, please donate. You can also help them by visiting their website and donating there. You can find a link in my About section here on Twitch, or if you're watching this on YouTube as the recording, it should be in the description. Today is Friday, which means it's time for Chibi Friday, and we're going to be starting a new project today. We're going to be doing Steve the Otter. It's actually the birthday request from my mother-in-law. She loves Steve the Otter, so I'm going to be doing a Chibi Steve the Otter. I've got a nice reference photo of an otter, and I even edited it so that it's facing the right way so that I can have the name tag showing. The way the photo was, the name tag would be on the other side, but we'll have Steve's name tag showing nice and big. So what I'm going to be using is, I used up the last pad of paper that I was using for Chibi, so I'm moving to this pad of paper, which is the Strathmore 400 series. Look at that, 400 series best. This is their best paper. Mixed media paper, vellum surface. So if you've watched some of my other streams, you know I love that vellum surface. I have my favorite sketchbook is that quality as well. This is drawing paper though, not sketchbook paper, so it's even thicker than the paper I use for my sketchbook stuff. And then of course I've got my kit of pretty much everything I need for any given drawing, including the new edition of this set of 4 gray pens, which we won't be using for this, but these are the things I'm going to be using. So I'm going to set this over here for now. You can see in the tertiary camera over here on the top right. It's hard because it's to my left, but for the arrangement on the stream it's on the right, so I always have to think about it. And I'm going to get out a sheet of this. I did this little drawing with a gold, testing a gold marker, and it got on here a bit, but that's okay because we'll just flip the page around. This is just as good. This kind of, it's not like watercolor paper where you can really tell the difference. It's pretty much the same whether it's front or back on this kind of paper. So good there. So I've got this, and I'm going to get out a clipboard since I have a vinyl table cover on my desk there. Let's see, will this small one work? This small one might be a little too small. But this tabletop cover is nice because there's like some gouges in. This is a hand-me-down table, and there's some gouges and stuff, and you don't want that behind your drawing because then your lines will skip. Oh look, it's just barely gonna be big enough. Ooh, look at that. Wow. But we want the other side. So there's not these are those marks from that metallic paint. You don't want those. In the back. This clipboard is just barely big enough. It's just the exact right size. Incredible. In fact, I'm going to scoot it in there a little bit more. There. And now I have it on the clipboard, so when I want to move it around, I can just grab this, or it's easy to get your fingernails under and pick the clipboard up. When it's just the paper on this surface, it tends to stick, and then there's a chance of you crumpling the paper by accident when you're trying to scoop it up. So that's why I use those clipboards. Okay, I'll close my closet. And this is all going to be done on the same sheet of paper, which changes what tools I'll be using. That means I'm going to sketch with a graphite pencil instead of my blue pencil that I have been using a lot recently. Sketch with the graphite pencil because we're just going to erase it away. This is my favorite little mechanical graphite pencil. It's a Celeste from Animal Crossing, and when you spin the top, the stars fall. The shooting stars. I got this when I was in Japan last year. It's so great. I love it. It's so cute and pretty. So I think that's all we need to start out of this sketch kit. Wow, this camera got really dark. I guess because of the white paper. Well, I can't do anything about it. This main camera is 100% automatic, so I can go into OBS and change it, but then if something goes wrong, I have to go in there and change it, and so just stick with the automatic, even though it's weirdly dark. I will bring it down, though, so that you can actually see the sketch. Maybe that's a little bit too far. It's a little bit too close. How about this? There we go. Try this. I'm adjusting my screen over here. Now this camera seems too bright. This one, at least, my secondary camera has a adjustment button for exposure right on it. Well, there. We'll just leave it like that. That's fine. All right. Small camera. Tertiary camera. Okay, they're all good. Though it does seem like this is casting shadows. Let me pull my lamps down a little bit so that main camera's not casting a shadow on here. Now what I've got to do is make this reference image a bit bigger so I can see it. Alright, I guess that's just gonna have to... Ah, no! I'm adjusting the photo viewer and it got huge. I don't want it to cover up all the other stuff I'm looking at. Okay. So I'm dealing with these lights for my stream are reflecting on my screen here, so it's kind of hard to see this. But if I bring it over here, okay, I'm gonna have to redo. Let me bring my Twitch over here, Twitch chat, and then my reference image is on this side. And now I just need, oops. Dang. There we go. I need OBS to come on to the left. Okay, we're getting there. Got OBS on the left. Reference image on the left, so now it's not being obliterated by the reflection on my screen. And then Twitch chat is on the side with the reflection on my screen, but it's okay because the new chat is at the bottom of the screen, which is fine. I can see that. Reflection's at the top. There, we figured it out. Hooray! So first, we're going to orient it. What I've got is a reference taken from Pexels, I think is what it's called. Oh, what is it called? It is an awesome resource. It's called... Yes, Pexels. P-E-X-E-L-S. And it's free stock photos. And that's where I like to get my reference images so there's not issues with copyright stuff, if at all possible. So, because that's kind of a murky water. Like, is there really copyright on using something as a reference? And I think it would be arguable. So let's try to avoid that whenever possible. A lot of the times it's not possible, but anyway, I do my best. So I've got this great reference. It's a river otter, so they look slightly different from the sea otters. little more smooth. They don't have to be as robust, I think, compared to a river compared to the ocean. And this particular individual is standing up on hind legs with their little hands in front like this, and then looking over into the distance. So I think it's perfect for this sort of business otter, Steve the Otter. I was looking more into it because I actually didn't know that much about it other than my mother-in-law loves Steve the Otter. That's all I knew. And I was looking at it. It seems like the biggest thing is that he has a tie on, a necktie, and a name tag that says Steve. So he's like a business otter. So that's what I'm going to do my version of. We're going to make it full color and everything. Most of the Steve drawings are, most of the official ones are black and white. But some of them are color too. I'm just going to do my realistic, my combo realistic anime style. You know, my typical chibi style is what I'm going to do here. So we've got, the general shape is a S. Really elongated S, but we're going to exaggerate it for the cuteness of the chibi. And of course, since it's chibi, we are going to make the head real big. So that's what defines mammal chibis. And all the bird chibis. Birds are a little harder. It's interesting. I've been talking about bug chibis recently because I've been doing the bees. And then birds are next for difficulty. Mammals are the easiest. Probably because I am a mammal. So it's easy for me to do. But we've got this big head. And then it comes down into the little body. And you can't really see it in the reference photo, but I'm going to add the tail just because it's cute. What I know of the otter tails, they just come to like a little tapered point. Something like that. Actually, it kind of looks like that snake starter Pokemon. Oh, what is it called? I can't remember. Snake starter Pokemon. Oh well. Can look it up later. I have some. It's I can't remember. Okay. So let's not get too distracted. This is the last stream of the year, last Chibi Friday of the year. So starting a new project, and then I'm not going to be streaming for the next 3 weeks. I decided 3 weeks today instead of 2. So I've been talking about it all year. I've been talking about it last year. I really, really, really want to get my studio cleaned up. When I was looking at the calendar, I saw that even if I take the next 3 weeks off, what it ends up being is 1.5 weeks in December and 1.5 weeks in January. So that January, I still will have 3 full weeks to stream. So it won't be like a short month. So I decided, yes, let's just go ahead and do it. And then I can use that time to tackle all of the piles of stuff. I'm not showing anybody my studio. It's so bad. It's really hard to move around. I have to sneak pack piles of boxes. You know, I can't even use my desk to my right here because it's just covered in stuff and has been covered in stuff for years. So I want to get as far as I can, so I'm going to try not going down Wikipedia rabbit holes today, no matter how curious I get, because I want to get as far as possible on this chibi, since I'm not going to be working on it again for 3 weeks. Okay, so you can see the eyebrows, the eyebrow ridges, and then the head is just basically smooth. So smooth back into the body. But since it is a chibi, we're going to make the eyes real big and cute. Oh yeah, super cute. We're going to make super cute eyes. And we've got the lovely little nosy. I don't know why I don't take the nosies away for chibi animals. But I take the noses away for chibi humans. I don't know why. It wasn't an active choice. I just did it. I just ended up doing it. I guess because I had more examples of chibi humans from anime and games and stuff than chibi animals. And so when I did my chibi animals, it was an even further step removed. So that's probably why. And then the ears, little bitty, teeny tiny little triangles right here. Very cute. Oh, it's just naturally this small. I'm not exaggerating the size of these ears. So small. Teeny tiny. Okay. It does seem like, I'm zooming in on my reference here. Does seem like I can see the difference between, well, it's kind of murky, but you can see a little bit the difference between the pupil, the iris, and then it seems like it gets black on the outside instead of white, or at least it's so much in shadow. So there's the pupil, iris, and then I don't know if the eye is actually black or if it's just the way the light is hitting, because the eye is in shadow in this reference image, but we'll just do it like that. That'll probably be good enough. So zoom out. Oh, the arms. Now let's start adding other body parts. So I've got this generic shaped body we can add. So let's add the little arms. That's another thing I don't take away on animals that I take away on humans. Fingers. I always give them all their toes. But with humans, I'm like, you get a nub. No one seems to mind, though. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, they have the same amount of fingers as us humans. That's so cute and sweet. Of course, they're cooler because they have tails. Ever since I was a kid, I always wished I had a tail. Like, legitimately, I was like, I wonder if I can get surgery to have a tail added. When I was a kid, I actually thought that. I also wondered if I could get caps on my teeth to get vampire teeth. That's an actual, I think you can do that. I don't want to do it anymore, but yep, I always wanted a tail. I tell my puppies, you're so lucky, I wish I had a tail. So they have their cute tails and you're wagging them all day long. Okay, got one hand. Now we need the other one. So in this photo, I don't know if it's an accident, but this otter has a little piece of grass in between their paws. So maybe what I'll do is put a flower. I think that would be cute. Since this is a gift, a birthday present. So we'll put a little flower in here. Let's see what kind of flower. There's this book I want. It's a book of flower language. I really want that because I'm always looking this up. Flower meanings. So. 24 birth flowers. Huh. Let's go to ftd.com. They sell flowers, so if they know about birth flowers, if anyone knows, then they probably know. Well, that's right. I was like, I don't know what my birth flower is. No, I remember. It's Daisy, because I thought it was awesome when I was a Daisy Scout in Girl Scouts, because I was like, it's my birth flower. It's also sweet pea. But that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for October. So October is marigold or cosmos. Oh. I searched the word cosmos and it was the universe. So I need to put flower. Oh, Pikmin is here. Hello, Pikmin. How are you? Thank you for joining me again today. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Not too busy. Wow, I'm so glad you could join me. This is my last stream in 2024. I'm so glad you were here with me this year. Hope everything is going awesome. Okay, yeah. I had to search Cosmos flower in order to get the flower. Otherwise, it just looks like the outer space. The results are outer space. So let's see. I want photos, though. Cosmos flower photo. I just need a really simple... Oh, this will work. Just gonna use this. Put a flower in Steve's hands here. Oh, excuse me. Cosmos for the birth flower of the birthday recipient of this drawing. That's really good. Yay! Okay. So the rest of the arm comes up like this. And they're little muscular beings. You can see the pectoral muscles. And the neck coming down in between. Even though the whole otter is covered with fur, you can still see the musculature underneath. Oh, and it looks like this arm fur should actually be a lot longer. So let's erase this, make it longer. I mistook what was the bottom edge. I stopped a little too soon. A little too high up. There, that's a little bit better. I mean, the whole otter is furry like this, but seems to be the edge of the arm instead of more of the body fur. Okay. And the very long belly. And then the legs. And the legs kind of follow this curve. They don't stick out in front. If you're hearing that sighing, that's Aoife. And if you heard that big snort, that was Chappie. It's actually a bit tough to see the feet, so I have to do my best guess as to what they look like. I can see a little bit through the grass, but I'll just use the hands. And this will probably be good enough. And then the other foot's turning out the other direction. There needs to be claws on all of these little tootsies. Up here too. There. Of course, like I said, the tail is completely my imagination based on existing knowledge of what an otter tail should look like. I'm just cleaning this up. Okay, so now I'm going to swipe all this eraser stuff into the trash can over here. Okay, I think I got it all. And so let's see. I think I just want to redo a little bit of the lines here. And I think I'll do all of the edges fuzzy looking except for up here by the mouth. The hair is small enough at the very tip of the muzzle that it doesn't look spiky. Is this otter, now that I'm looking at it up close, clearly just came out of the water. So it's a very spiky looking otter. Okay, now to add the elements that make this not just an otter, but Steve the Otter. First, let's see, first we'll do the name tag. So we're going to do a name tag right here. And try to fit the name Steve. Yeah, perfect. And we'll just do a little, like a little circle or something to indicate that's how it's being held on. And some little clip. And then we need a necktie. Nice business otter Steve. We're going to have the tie come out farther so that it gives it some dimension. Come out farther than the body does. And then we'll have the tail of the tie coming down along the body. We'll have it sticking out a little bit like that. Otter is kind of an odd one to turn into a chibi. I feel like maybe I should make the body a little shorter since it looks really snake-like. But it also doesn't look bad. Maybe I should just make the body wider. What if we take it all back farther? Something like this. So it's so thin, looks more like a snake. Oh, Snivy, that's what the Pokemon is that I was trying to think of. It looks like a Snivy. That snake starter Pokemon. Oh yeah, I think that helped. Just picking up these eraser bits so I can see beyond them. Yes, I think that helped. So let's just take this tie back further. I wonder if the tie should be longer. That seems alright though. I made it a little wider at the bottom. I'm going to bring the arm back a little bit too, so that it's not competing as much with the name tag. Then we have all these whiskers. Most of them are white, but since this is going to be on a white background, I think I'll just make them black. And they're growing all the way down. Lots and lots of whiskers, and there's some sticking up too. Plus we have these little dots, just like on a cat or dog, that you can see where the whiskers are parting the fur. I think that's too much. I was thinking of adding some whiskers coming in from the other side visible, but I think it makes it a little too busy. Also, I made the curve a little too strong. The angle's too strong. I guess I don't have to redraw those. I will just draw them with ink when it comes time. Okay. That's probably good. I think I will move his ear up a little bit though. So there's just this huge space in between. Let's move it closer to the eye. Even though I think that was a naturalistic distance there, but we're not going for naturalistic. We're going for cute. So I'm actually going to make the ear a little bit bigger too. Oh, that's better. Yay! And I'm going to smooth this part. I exaggerated it a little bit and it's looking like too much for the chibi, so we're going to take it back. Smooth it out. Simplify the shapes. Yeah, I think that's good. So we've got that name tag and tie, iconic. Maybe I'll put the stripes on it now too. That classic business tie look. Alright. Yay, I'm so glad that I didn't have to redraw the whole bottom. Just making the body wider seemed to help. And I feel like it looks more like an otter now than a snake. Though it still looks like Snivy, but we'll just go with it. So we're making great time. This is awesome. My stream is 2 hours long, and it's only been 35 minutes. And we already are moving on to inking. Closing up my drawing kit for now and getting out my favorite Sakura Micron pens, which last time I used these, I remembered that I bought a kit that had several sizes that I had not had before. So this 003, the 10, and the 12 are new sizes to me. So I've got this excellent range of 10 different sizes to use. So we can get a huge amount of variety in line weight. So to start, I feel like I want to be rather delicate with this, and then we'll add more ink. So let's start a little smaller than I think I do. I think I usually go for the 3. I'm going to go for the 02 to do all the main lines. So let's just start here. And remember, this part was smooth. And pretty much everywhere else, I'm going to be adding spiky, wet fur texture. And on the head too. It was smooth until we got to the back. Just realized that maybe you could see this better if I move the camera. There. And here I'm going to have the fur coming out and over the tie. So we could have a little bit of fur sticking out here and there. And that'll help really make it look like he's actually wearing it. I just realized what I could do, which I think would be better, is use Photoshop, because I always use Photoshop for the final cleanup and presentation for these gift chibis. Use Photoshop to put the name on. I think I'm going to do that. So then I could angle it so it actually matches the angle of the tag and everything. Come back up to the top. Let's finish these facial features. I like when I do whiskers to have some crossing each other. So that's just what naturally happens. It's really easy to draw them all lined up perfectly, but I think it looks nicer to have a few crisscrossing. And you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to do like every other one is crisscrossing, because that also is a little bit too much. Aoife snoring. Trying to delicately ink the flower. All right, getting close to done with the first round of inking. Okay. That's done, and since I used a very thin pen, should be dry pretty much instantly. So, getting back into Sketchkit, getting out my eraser. I like to start with my kneaded eraser because it's gentler on the paper. And then we'll use a plastic eraser to get any final leftover bits. And I love this Faber-Castell one because it comes with this case. Because the kneaded eraser is very sticky, so it can get pet hairs and dust and stuff in it. Of course, it does get the graphite that you're erasing, or whatever thing you're erasing with. You erase charcoal. Pretty much, you could use it with pastel, anything. It does pick that up. That's how it erases. But then it can pick up other stuff that you don't really want it to, and that shortens the lifespan of the eraser. So I love that the Faber-Castell one comes in a case. Plus, if you're carrying it around in a sketch kit like that, pencil bag, whatever, you don't want it sticking to all your other supplies and getting little strings and bits all over the place. Now I am erasing. This is another reason I like this eraser to start. I'm erasing the entire page because whenever I sketch with graphite, I inevitably get even just a little bit on the sides of my hands, and then it gets transferred to the rest of the page. It just looks dirty. Looks unprofessional, so I like to get the whole page. So you can even surprise yourself. It might not look dirty, but then you actually pull this eraser across the page and you're like, oh wow, it was actually covered in a film of graphite, a layer of graphite. Okay, I think that's good for this eraser. Just go in, it's a little bit more precision, plastic eraser, and get anything that's left over. Another thing that's great about this case is it's just really fun to squeeze that back in there so that it's flat enough. Yeah, I'll use this one. I love having, oh, I'm yawning. I love having a ton of different sizes of erasers. It's so great. You can just pick the perfect size for the job at hand. I drew a little bit too hard in some areas, so those lines aren't coming up. But that's no problem whatsoever, because we're going to be coloring this with marker and then colored pencil. And if there is still some extra graphite showing, like I said, I always do cleanup and little final touches in Photoshop, so there's nothing to worry about whatsoever. If there's a line that I don't want to be there, it will be gone by the end, by whatever method ends up taking it away. A lot of these will just be covered up by the marker and you won't even be able to tell. Okay, I think I got, oh no, there's still a few little pieces. Okay, now I think I got all the pieces off. So, done with the eraser. Now let's add more to the lines. Or maybe I should do what I did with my cozy Christmas coodlers. I don't usually do it this way for Chibis, but maybe this would be for the best. Do the marker first, then come back in with more ink. Then do the colored pencil. The reason being, if you add too much ink and then you do marker on it, sometimes the marker can smudge the ink, even though these and many other brands are supposed to be marker proof, alcohol marker proof. But if you have too much ink, it'll still smudge. And then doing it in between marker and colored pencil, because these ink pens do not like, and pretty much any ink does not like to go on top of waxy colored pencils. So get marker in and ink in before putting down colored pencils. So let's do that. Let's just go to some marker, which is exciting because we've only been working on this for 50 minutes. It would be a Christmas miracle if I finished this in this stream. I'm not expecting to. I'm not going to rush and try to make it happen, but it would be awesome if I could, because I will be seeing my mother-in-law on Christmas Eve, so I could give her her birthday present at the same time. Okay, got my Copic swatch book. So I guess I'll zoom out of the reference image so I can see the overall color. So there's a cream color on the chest and belly, also on the cheek here. So we'll start with that cream color. I always start, and I think it's best to always start with the light colors, work from light to dark, just like with watercolor. So either this one or this one maybe, or maybe this one would be good start color. Yeah, let's do this as our base color for the otter's fur, which is E41. And I am going to color in the entire otter, even though this fur is mostly just on this part, the front and underneath part. And I don't want any lines from where two colors meet. So it's best to just color the whole thing in. Yep, even with that thin line, I still smudged a little ink right there. So I'm glad that I did not add more ink yet. Guess this will be my new MO. New modus operandi. Add the extra ink after the marker. Can't believe it took me all these years to think of that. Guess it's just like you want to get X step done, period. So it feels weird to have to come back and do more of the same thing. But I think it's a good idea, because I've always struggled with that. Like, why? This pen set says that it's supposed to be marker proof, and it's not. Oh, this end is dry. I have to use the big end for the whole thing. Man, I need to go through and just fill all my markers preemptively. They're all quite old and they're all quite dry. It's not as easy to color with this big end though. Try to get these little detail parts with the dry bullet tip. If at all possible, I don't want to waste any time filling markers on stream. So hopefully not too many of my markers are so dry that I need to stop and fill them in. Fill them up. Oh, right here still, yeah, it's just not filling it in very well. I'm going to add that to my to-do list. Fill markers. I'm going to do that really quick so that I don't forget later. Go on Habitica, go to to-dos, add a task, refill, Copic, markers. Okay. Yay. I wish this would be, maybe I am going to go manually turn the exposure up on my primary camera because this is so dark. I don't understand why it's so dark today. I don't know if it's brightness or exposure that I want. Yeah, it's on auto for exposure. Well, I'll leave I turned the brightness up. Hopefully that will be good. That looks a little bit more in line with, it's usually this bright. I don't understand why it's struggling. Turn the exposure up there too. Okay. Well, we only have 2 minutes before break time, so rather than picking a new color, let's just go and break a little bit early. And we'll come back and resume coloring this and see how far we can get in the next 55 minutes after break. 55-ish minutes. So, I encourage everyone else to also take a break, get up, walk around, look at something off in the distance, give your eyes a break, get some water, stretch. I'm going to turn on my be right back sign and be back in about 5 minutes. everyone, welcome back. I hope you had a great break. I am ready to continue working on Chibi Steve the Otter. I want to pick the next color, so we've got quite a big jump from the lighter color on the belly and chin to the darker brown that's everywhere else. I just wonder if I should go, I feel like from here might be nice. The color we started with is this one, although it ended up being darker than what I have in my swatch book, but this seems like an appropriate contrast. So let's do this. E25. Now, hopefully, the bullet tip on this marker is not dry, because I'd like to use it to create texture on the fur as I color this. Well, seems alright. Hooray! So I'm coloring in the same direction that the fur seems to grow, so that way any lines that are created from wet marker going on top of dry marker just add to the texture of the fur instead of looking out of place. And there's a little bit of brown fur right under here. Seems to come along the line of the ear. The ear marks where the brown fur stops. Okay, above the tie is done. Yeah, it seems like the tan fur comes here, the arms are dark brown, and then it's on the belly too, but the legs are also dark brown. I'll try to protect the claws, they seem lighter colored too. Pretty cute. Yay, 2 colors down. So I think we'll just keep working on the fur. Need to go another step darker. The colors get rather red in this collection. Maybe I want to move into this more yellow earth tones. So this is sort of in the middle between red and yellow earth tones. There's 3 sections. This is the very red ones. It's in the middle, and then these ones are more yellow. So I think I'm going to go this direction. E57 seems maybe a little too close. So let's try going to the darkest color we've got here, which is E59. So the areas that are especially dark are the hands and feet and the legs and arms. And then in the ear, mostly because it's shaded and around the eye, which I think is probably for the same reason. So first we'll start by... So this is not necessarily for depicting the pigment of the fur. Instead, this is doing shading. Of course, some of it could be pigment, but for the most part, it's adding shading. At some point we'll have to pick a color for the nose, but I think I'm going to just keep focusing on the fur for now. Oh, I didn't even color that other hand. Get that in a second. Because it can look quite different if you miss a color. If you're layering colors and you miss a color in the middle, even if it's going to be completely covered up, by the end it'll still look different because you're combining the different pigments to get the final color. Okay, we'll give that a second to dry and come back to it. Right now I will keep moving down. the texture is coming across really nicely. And then of course we can get even finer texture when we go into the colored pencil work. Let's look for a color for the nosy. It's a slightly different brown, it seems, from the fur. It's a bit of, well, it almost looks purple. Actually, this color looks perfect. E77. But is that too dark to start with? I mean, it's very small, so let's just go for it. E77. Actually, the brown of the eye seems very similar too, so I'll use it for both. We'll bring back some highlight using colored pencil later. I'm going to fill the pupil in later with black ink. So the pupil is just a hole in the eye where the light enters. That's how we can see, so that I will save for later. But there is this outside part, and in fact it almost looks blue, so I don't know if that's the blue sky reflecting on it. Let's choose a cool gray to do this outside part of the eye that looks pretty dark, but not exactly black. I can't tell what's going on with it, but we're just going to draw it how it looks in the reference photo. Well, it's quite dark, so let's go to Cool Gray 8. I wasn't quite sure about this Chibi, but as I'm adding the color and everything, it's really starting to come together and I'm feeling more and more confident in it. That's why I moved ahead even though I had doubts, because I've done this long enough that I know that that's just how it is. There's always this point where you're toward the beginning, you're not in the really fun experimental coming up with an idea stage, you're in the beginnings of actually making it happen, and it always is like, oh no, what have I done? How am I going to get out of this? You just got to keep pushing forward. That's how you get out, and that's how you end up with an amazing piece. You got to not give up at the early stage when you're questioning everything. So let's color these final little pieces. We haven't done any shading on the areas that I just worked on, but let's put the flat color for everything else because it's such a small area compared to the fur. First, the flower. I'm wondering, I'll just do, let's see, where did that reference image I was looking at go? Oh, it's gone. Well, I'll just try to remember. It was a pink. It was a pink flower. I think it had some white in it too, but let's just do pink because it's so small. And it was yellow in the middle and of course green on the stem. It was a rather vibrant pink though. It was something more like this section, the red-violet section. Let's do this one. Or should we do this one? What looks better with him? This pink, this pink. They both look good with him. Well, let's start with this one. We can use this one as a shadow color. So RV13, red, violet, 13. This is such a nice pink. I have the feeling as I'm using it that I never get to use this color. Okay, got the pink on there. Let's get a green. I just want a really simple. There's grass green. That's what I was thinking. Let's just go for grass green right here. Yellow green 17. YG 17. Do my best to color in this tiny, tiny little line here. Then we need a yellow, which is right on top, for the pollen area in the middle. This is cadmium yellow, looks nice, classic, vibrant. Y15. There, boom. Classic flower combo, pink petals, yellow middle, and I guess it comes from the cosmos, where that almost stereotypical color combination comes from. Okay, so his tie, oh, what should I do? I was thinking of doing it the classic blue and red, basic business tie, but I kind of feel like I want to have it match the flower, you know? I'm thinking. Because I could do the tie mostly green with yellow stripes. And then the pink petals really get to stand out, but there's not like this fight between the tie's colors and the colors of the flowers. So let's just do that. I think that's a nice idea. Worst case scenario, if it's terrible, you can always select these colors and change them in Photoshop. It's not as easy as changing it if you were coloring directly in Photoshop, but you can still tweak the colors. So. Now the yellow. Yellow stripes. I wonder if this marker is getting dry actually too, because it's not that different looking. It's definitely coloring in the page, but it's not as different looking as I expected it to be based on my color swatch. But it doesn't look bad. Yeah, and as I hope, we're not having competing collections of colors. This looks nice and harmonious here in the middle. So next, let's do just a little bit of gray, very light gray, on the name tag so that it has a little bit of character to itself. Let's do a warmer color. Name tag might be made out of paper or plastic. Do a little bit warmer than the cool gray we used earlier. Let's go with neutral gray. We'll keep it a little bit cool so it looks kind of like, you know, business is kind of clinical or whatever. Not quite as warm and friendly as paper in a bakery might be or something. But not as cool as the gray that we use for his eyes. We don't want it too dark either. Yeah, let's start with N0. I'll get out N0 and N2. Use an N0 to just fill it in. I'll give it a second so that it can dry. The alcohol markers actually dry quite quickly, but also not as fast as you might expect. So I want this to dry completely. So I just want to do a little bit of touch of this neutral gray. Hopefully that's enough. Give the tag a little dimension. Yeah, something like that. Oh, it looks good. Oh, we'll make the clip this darker color too. And then in Photoshop, we're going to add Steve onto the name tag. So it'll be nice and straight. It'll look like it's a printed name tag because it will be from the computer instead. Not hand printed. Computer printed. Well, now everything has the base color. I did some shading on the fur already, so let's do shading on everything else before we take it further. So we'll start with the nosy and the eye. So I think there's only one more darker brown available to me, which is this E49. So I'll get that out. So first, where the nostril is, definitely this could be super dark. In fact, I'll probably take it even darker in a bit, but adding this shadow onto the nose. And the eye. Well, I guess I could use this for the shading color in the ear. It's very dark in there. Yeah, looks good. This is a nice shadow color for the ear. Just while I'm at it. I know I said I wasn't going to work on the fur yet, but it seemed like a great color, so. Next, need a darker cool gray. Let's just skip 2 to the very end, which is C10, the darkest cool gray that there is. If you're hearing that breathing, that loud breathing, it's Aoife. She is just snoozing away. Okay, next. Let's do the pink. I said I was going to go to that next color, but I wonder if it's dark enough. I think I might need to skip to something even darker. These two are actually pretty close. But we could keep it more delicate by doing that. Let's just do that. RV14. Just go one color over. Yeah, not bad. Nice. Gotta move my marker train over. It's starting to take up lots of room. Yellow or green next? We'll do green. Do green next. So what I used was yellow green 17. What's a good shadow color for that? And maybe going into the actual greens. It came out a lot darker on this paper than it did on this paper, so maybe I will actually go here, comparing this to this, not this to this. Since this turned out, the yellow green 17 turned out this dark on the mixed media paper, this yellow green 67 will probably turn out even darker. So let's use that one. Feels like this marker is dry. I use the edges here. Well, it's not dry, it's just not making that big of a difference. Dang. It did not work out how I hoped. For some reason the grass green turned out so much darker than the swatch. So I thought it was the paper's fault, but it's not. It just turned out darker. So we've got to get another darker color. So yeah, let's go into the actual greens instead of the yellow greens. It's hard to choose. Let's just try it. G28, this nice dark one here. I don't know if I could bring my main camera even lower. Yeah, that looks better. Sorry I didn't think to do that sooner. so that you can see it better. Oh well, I've done it now. Excellent, this is a better color for shading the tie. We'll put a little bit more on flower stem too, because it didn't really make too much of a difference there. That other color. Alright, so the yellow I used was Y15. And I wonder if the marker is getting dry because it's ended up way lighter than what is in the swatch book. Let's try Y26 as a shadow color. Cool how adding the shadow on the yellow actually helps enhance the shadow of the green, so it supports that line that was created. So what's next? I think now we could start adding more shading into the fur. I'm going to zoom out on my reference. So something I'd like to create is a little bit more transition right here on the cheek. So we've got a really bright patch of the tan fur or the cream fur here, but from the cheek down to the shoulder it's more mixed. So I'd like to find a color to sit in between the two that we've currently got, this color and this color. So those two were E41 and E35. Oh, this might be perfect. As long as it's not dry like so many of my markers are right now. Let's try E31. I don't want to fill the whole thing in. Just make little marks. Hatching marks to combine them, combine the areas. So this is a nice in-between color, but it's not as strong as I hoped, so I want to get another one. So we've got that one. Let's see, 31. Let's do a step to the side, which is E33. Oh, that's a bit better. Let's look. Yeah, the belly seems to have the same kind of thing going on. So let's add this in here too. So now I think I want a step in between this dark brown and the medium brown. So that's E59 and E35. Right, we went all the way to this other page. Well, E57 actually looks like a great middle color. Seriously, 35, 59, 57. Let's try that. 57. E57. You're hearing some slurping or something. That's Chappy. I don't know what she's doing, but she's like licking her chops. And now Aoife is repositioning herself on her bed. Move my, oh no, the cap. It rolled away. I had to move. I needed to move my reference image so I could see the rest of the body. There we go. It's looking better and better the more we add. Now I'd like to start getting some really dark areas. I'm going to go back to this E49, which is the darkest brown I have. Like right here, there's a lot of shadow. Plus it just seems like the fur on the hands and arms is darker than anywhere else anyway. make it look really good. There's only 15-ish minutes left though. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this finished during this stream, but I have gotten way farther than I expected. Is there anything else I want to do with markers? Maybe bring in a little bit more of this middle dark brown. Oh, it's not dark enough for this area. I'm going to darken up the ear. What was it? This one? Yeah. "10-minute warning from my calendar. 10 minutes left." Adding a little bit more shadow under the tie to help show that it's sitting there on top of the fur. It'll be great. I think that I will finish with marker today. So when I do come back to this after 3 weeks, I won't have any confusion about what color was I using or anything like that, because I think everything else I want to do with color at this point will be with colored pencils, so I don't have to remember anything. I actually feel ready to go to ink for the last 8 minutes. So I'm going to turn this marker stack so that it's not in my way. I don't want to waste time putting away. I can put it away off stream. Let's do the interesting stuff on stream. So, getting out my set of Sakura Pigma fine liner pens again. This time, we're going to do more robust inking. Let's start with the pupil. So that's going to make a huge difference. Of course, we're going to be adding white ink at the end for highlights, so don't worry, his eyes will come back to life at the end. But that part right there was not supposed to be highlight. That was supposed to be the pupil. Did I used to do this with the size 8 or with a size, well, size 08 or with size 1? My favorite big outline around the character. I'm going to do in the margin a little bit. Yeah, I guess the biggest one I have is fine. We'll do that. I won't do the flower. I'm going to keep the flower a little more delicate. Claws too, I'm going to save. Use a smaller pen. I'm not completely filling on the ink around the flower because I want it to remain light and delicate, so instead I did broken lines. So it still has a thicker outline, but it's not really in your face. All right. Sorry if you fell asleep there while I was concentrating and I surprised you, but I think this is good for today. We are at time. And while I may want to add more ink when I come back to this on the next Chibi Friday, for now this seems like a good stopping point, and maybe I won't want to add more and I'll be ready to move on to colored pencils and white ink. But for now, let's see, I'll bring this all the way down and hold this up so you can get a final close-up look at the progress we made today, which I think is incredible. So much done in just 2 hours. Chibi Steve the Otter. The name tag will say Steve on it by the end. And I don't think I have ever chibified an otter before, so this is a first for me. I think it's looking really good so far. I'm really excited to continue it, but it is time to take some time off for the holidays. I'm super excited. I'm taking the next 3 weeks off, so I will be back on, I believe, January 15th. It's going to be the, let's see, I'll actually look at my calendar to double check. I think it'll be the 15th. Yes. Wednesday, the 15th of January, 2025, should be the same time of day as usual, so you can check my schedule on my page here on Twitch. That should be accurate. I've turned on vacation mode as well, so it should show all the streams that are canceled. But that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this stream. Thank you so much for joining me all throughout 2004 and all the years before that. I want to wish you a wonderful rest of your year and the most magnificent 2025. That's it for me today, and that's it for me this year. Thank you for watching.